Hi, I'm Jason Sanders, and in the next couple of videos, I'm going to show you how to create a Microsoft Azure function that you can embed into various apps to integrate ChatGPT functionality. So this video is actually part one of a part two series. And in this first video, I'm going to show you how to set up the environment to create an Azure function. So for example, what software you need to download and install. And then in the second video, part two, I'll show you how to actually create the Microsoft Azure function and link it to OpenAI's API. So with that, let's get started. I'm actually going to remove my head here so it doesn't get in the way with what I need to show you. And the first thing that we're going to do is go to azure.microsoft.com. That's the homepage for Microsoft Azure. And you'll need to create a free account. Now, when I created my free account, they did, I believe, if I remember correctly, they did ask me for a credit card. So when you create the free account, they should give you a $200 credit. So even though they ask you for your credit card information, you won't get charged anything until you exceed that $200 limit. And that's going to be more than sufficient for our purposes. So I'm going to go over to my account. I've obviously already created a free account. And this is my landing page. And the first thing that you'll need to do is create a subscription. Now, I've already created one. And when you arrive at your landing page, I don't know if you'll see this icon here. So if you don't, what you need to do is just type subscriptions here into the search bar. And this should pop up and you can just click on subscriptions. And yours will be blank, but as you can see, I already have one subscription, and you only get one subscription for the free account. So I can't actually walk you through creating a new subscription, but it's pretty straightforward. You just click add here and type in a name for your subscription and click on review and create, and then it'll create it for you. So it's really straightforward. Now, the next thing to do is create a function app. So click on this icon here, function app. And as you can see, I've already created a couple. And the one that I've created, which already integrates with ChatGPT, is this OpenAI 1212. But I'm going to walk you through the process of creating a brand new one. So again, your page here should be blank, and you'll want to click on create. And you'll need to, it'll pre-populate your subscription name. As you can see, mine is Azure Subscription 1. You'll need to create a new resource group. So click create new, and I will call it test group. Click OK. And then I need to give my app a name. And if you just put test, you'll see the app name test is not available. These functions are actually deployed to websites. And so, as you can imagine, somebody's already taken tests. So what you could probably do is just type in some random numbers, and that works. So keep code selected, and then for runtime stack, you'll want to do Python. Now you could do others. You could do Node.js or Java, but I'm going to do, you should select Python because that's what we're going to be working with. Version, now when I created mine, 3.0 1.0 wasn't an option. So go ahead and select 3.9. 3.10 might work, but all of the code that I wrote, which I'm going to walk you through, was for 3.9, and I'm not 100% sure it'll work with 3.10. It should, but just so that you don't encounter any problems, it's best to select 3.9. East US is fine, Linux is fine, and then because it's the free account, you only have the option for consumption serverless for hosting. So I'm going to move this to the other side so it doesn't get in the way. So now click on networking, and there's nothing you have to change here, but just make sure enable public access is on. Next monitoring, no changes. Next deployment, no changes. Tags, no changes. And then review and create. And then click on create. And so now it's deploying to the web. And I'm going to pause the video for a second while it's deploying. Okay, so the deployment is complete. I'm going to check on it. So I'm going to go back to the home page, click on Function App, and here it is, test 53425. So that deployed. Okay, so now that we have our Function App deployed, the next thing to do is Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code is a free code editor. And if you go to code.visualstudio.com, you can download it. And so it's pretty straightforward. Download for Windows, for Mac, download it, and then install it. And once you've done that, then you can fire it up. And I'm just I already have my copy of Visual Studio Code open. So I'm just going to go to that. And what you'll need to do once you've got your Visual Studio Code downloaded, installed, and then opened is install something called Azure Functions. So if you go to extensions here on the side, you can click on that. Click on that. And search extensions in Marketplace here. Just type in Azure Functions. And mine is already installed, but in yours, what you'll see is an install button next to it. So just click on install and it'll install it for you. Now I noticed that I have, let's see, let me delete this. I have Azure account and Azure resources also installed. Now I don't know if that's necessary or not, but it wouldn't hurt to install those extensions as well. So once you've got Visual Studio Code downloaded and installed, and the Azure extensions, Azure functions for sure, and as I said, it doesn't hurt to have Azure account and Azure resources. The next thing is installing Azure core tools. So let me go back to my web here. And so this is code.visualstudio.com. So let's go to Azure core tools. Okay, so go to learn.microsoft.com and search for Work with Azure Functions Core Tools to get to this page. And once you've gotten to this page, make sure Python is selected and go down here and let's see, go to install the Azure Functions Core Tools. and click on V4 Windows 64-bit. Now, I'm not going to do that now because I've already downloaded and installed. Basically, what will happen is it'll download an executable file. Once it's downloaded, you'll need to double click on it and go through the normal installation process that you go through. For example, that you would have just gone through with Visual Studio Code. So it's pretty straightforward. You just download it and then install it, and you should be good to go. So the next thing that we want to install is Python. Here's the landing page for python.org. And once you've arrived here, let's see, it's just www.python.org, and click on downloads, and then click on, well, if you're on a Mac, it would be Mac, but I'm using Windows. So you'd click on Windows if you're using Windows. And if you remember when we set up our Azure functions, we were using Python 3.9. So the Python version that you want to install in your computer is also 3.9 or some 3.9 point something. So probably the best one to download is the one that I used and which has worked well. Let's see if I can find it. 3.9. 3.9. Here it is, 3.9.13. And what you want to do is you want to click on Download Windows Installer 64-bit. So you want to click on this here. Again, I'm not going to do it because I've already installed it. And again, it's kind of your standard download and install procedure. So you'll want to go ahead and do that. The one thing, actually, let me see. No, I'm not going to, I'm going to stop that. One thing that you'll want to do is, I believe it's, make sure when you go through the installation process, you'll want to check on the box that says path. I forget exactly what it says, but you'll see it when you download. It's a checkbox at the bottom that says enable path or something like that. You'll want to make sure that that's checked. That's the main thing to remember here. So once you've installed Python, what you'll want to do is pull up your command prompt. And if you don't know how to do that, you can go on search and search for command, and you'll see command prompt. And this is what it looks like. So you'll want to pull that up, and just to check to make sure that your Python was installed correctly, what you can do is you can do Python -- version, and it'll show you it should say 3.9.13 if you downloaded and installed the one that I had pointed out. And then the other thing that you want to do is just check the PIP -- version and make sure you get something back. I think mine is, 23.1.2. So you'll need Python and pip. And pip should be installed automatically when you install your Python. So you shouldn't have to do an additional install for that. So great. Now that we have Python, the next step is, let me close that out, is to, you need a ChatGPT account. So let me pause the video for a second while I pull that up. Okay, so you'll need to sign up for a ChatGPT account, and I believe you can do that at platform.openai.com. And you can set up a free account, but they may ask you again for a credit card. I know if you want to create API keys, then they may ask you for a credit card again. But when you sign up for a free account, you do get a $20 or $18. I'm not sure exactly what it is because I've used all mine. Well, actually, I haven't used it. It expires after, I believe, 30 days. But you get an initial free, I think, $18. So if you use ChatGPT 3 or 3.5 now, and you just use their interface to chat with it, it's totally free. However, if you want to use the API, they do charge you for using it, and it's pay per usage. So it's not a flat rate. It's based on the amount of information that goes back and forth to you from their API, how often you ping it. It's a little complicated to explain, but it's basically the more you use it and the longer the prompts and the more information that you send and get back, the more that you're going to be charged. But for the purposes of this video, what they give you free for the first 30 days is going to be more than sufficient. So anyhow, once you've created your account, you're going to need to create an API key, and this is the page that you go to do that. API keys. And it's really simple. You just click on create a new secret key. You create your key. And the important thing to remember here is when you create your key, you need to, let's go ahead and do that. So create a new secret key. Let's call it Azure test. Okay, when you create it, this is what you'll see, and you have to copy it and paste it somewhere and save it somewhere in a different, like a text document or something like that. Because once you click done, you're not going to be able to get that full key again through the interface here. So, for example, if I click done and I hit, you can't see the whole thing here, so you can't copy and paste. And then if you click edit, all it does is let you edit the name, so you can't actually get it. So that's super important. You need to copy that secret key and save it somewhere before moving on. So let's see, what's the next thing to do? Okay, so the last thing to do in our setup is something called Postman. And let me move over to that page. So I already have, excuse me, I already have an account called so you go to postman.com, and again, you can create a free account for that. And this free account will be more than sufficient for what we need. So let's go to home. Are we already at home? So yeah, so the main thing here, this is really straightforward. And in the next video, I'm going to go into a little more detail about how we're going to use Postman. But for now, just go to www.postman.com and create a free account. So I believe that's it. That's all of the things that we need for our setup. And in the next video, I'm going to actually use these tools that we just set up to create an Azure function, to actually create the Azure function that connects to to the OpenAI API, which connects to ChatGPT. So with that, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.